Hello, I'm Siamecat. Have you ever waited over a decade for a sequel to one of your favorite games, only for it to be completely forgotten? That's never happened to me, I was just asking.
Show me the sequel to Yoshi's Island. Very funny, but who do you think you're fooling? We were still waiting for a Yoshi game that wasn't whatever this was, and after a decade, Yoshi's Island 2, later changed to Yoshi's Island DS, was revealed for the DS. The DS! Making a sequel to a console game for the DS instead of the Wii was one of Nintendo's more interesting decisions of the mid-2000s. Making Yoshi's Island a series primarily on handhelds only contributed to my Yoshi vs. Kirby problem theory, which I will elaborate on likely sometime next year. So Yoshi's Island was not a one-hit wonder, but depending on who you ask, it might as well be, because Yoshi's Island DS is commonly seen as not that great. Yoshi's Island DS opens with a recap of the first game's story, detailing every bit of it only to ruin it with the new story. Okay, hear me out. Well, after I explain what it is. In the Mushroom Kingdom, there are 7 chosen star children that all hold immense power. Kamek sends his minions to capture every baby they can in hopes of finding the 7 star children. Already sounds more than a little bit like the Bible. Where did this come from? The stork manages to bring 4 of them to Yoshi though. So once again, Yoshi and his friends must save a bunch of babies. Okay, now hear me out. This story downplays the importance of the ending to the first game by having Baby Mario and Baby Luigi back on Yoshi's Island. So even though the story does get points for being way more original than what would come next, Yoshi's Island DS should not be canon, and thankfully I don't think it is. Aside from a couple major new features, this is about as faithful of a sequel as you can get. Yoshi's Island DS is extremely similar to the first game, carrying over every single obscure enemy and mechanic you could possibly think of. After all, this is supposed to be more Yoshi's Island above all else. It might even be too similar in a couple areas, mainly because there are no new bonus minigames or transformations. The transformations I can kind of understand, because you don't want an old feature to overshadow a new one, but with the bonus minigames, you really can't throw in a few new ones.
We just don't have the budget.
There is one new collectible. There's one coin you can only collect with a specific baby, more on that later, in every level. I would tell you what they do, but I didn't find all of them, and information about this game online doesn't exist, so sorry for failing at my job. The top and bottom screens allow you to see far above and below where you currently are. While this is a unique idea and sometimes leads to some cool moments, nowadays it feels more gimmicky than anything else. And because now is a decent time to talk about this, after the success of the Wii and DS, we seem to have turned gimmicks into something that can only ever be negative, but that's just not true. There are good gimmicks that enhance the experience, and there are also bad gimmicks that hinder the experience. Now that short rant is out of the way, let's continue talking about this gimmick.
It's just what I do.
One disadvantage of this idea is that you can't see what's in between the 2 screens. I have either gotten hit or completely missed a collectible so many times because of this. Also, this game doesn't use the touchscreen at all. I don't really care whether it uses the touchscreen or not, but mentioning it is in my job description. I've noticed a trend with 3DS games relying way less on gimmicks than their predecessors on the DS. I'm not saying they don't use the 2 screens or the touchscreen at all, I'm just saying if you're gonna do it like this, that decision was probably for the better. But of course the most important new feature is the 5 babies. Yoshi can now have one of 5 different babies on his back this time, and they each have unique abilities. There are even 5 unique crying sounds. What remarkable attention to detail! 10 out of 10! There's Baby Mario, Baby Peach, Baby Donkey Kong, Baby Wario, and even Baby Bowser. If Baby Wario and Baby Donkey Kong don't sound familiar to you, that's because this game is their only appearance ever. You might think Baby Peach was introduced in this game too, but no, her first appearance was actually Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. And Baby Peach is the one appearing in countless spin-offs like Mario Kart, so clearly Partners in Time was a much higher priority than Yoshi's Island DS. Am I reading too deep into this?
Me? Never.
Oh, and this is something I haven't seen anyone mention yet. Anyone notice how all the babies except Bowser have 2D platformers with their names in them? I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it's really cool. Baby Mario allows you to run fast and hit these M blocks, Baby Peach can float with the wind, Baby DK can climb on vines and charge through enemies, Baby Wario can attract objects with his magnet, and Baby Bowser can breathe fire. They all also give Yoshi different running speeds, flutter jump durations, and even different properties for when eggs hit a wall or something. Of these, I'd say Baby DK is the most disappointing, mainly because his charge move just doesn't work in so many situations where it really should, making the move kinda useless. Switching through all these abilities to solve puzzles and find secrets is very fun, so that part of the implementation of this mechanic works well, but how you switch between the babies isn't perfect. You can only swap babies at these stations, and while there are a lot of them, I've had way too many instances where I couldn't get a collectible because I didn't have the right baby, and I couldn't even backtrack to find a swapping station, and by the time I did find one, I couldn't even backtrack to the collectible I missed. Once you find Baby Peach and Baby DK, they'll stay with you for the rest of the game, but you only get to use Baby Wario and Baby Bowser for 4 levels and then they run off, so that's a little disappointing. There are 5 worlds instead of 6 this time, and that's probably for the better, because this game tends to drag on towards the end, not unlike the original Yoshi's Island. The level design is the exact same style of linear yet still exploration-based, and unfortunately that leads to the exact same problems the first game had. World 4-7 is the most obnoxiously frustrating level I've played on a platformer. Just look at how many times I died here. And then there's World 5-6. Look, I can understand making one painfully slow auto-scroller, you can still learn from your mistakes. But doing it again is just offensive.
I have to do it again.
The bosses aren't quite as creative as the ones in the first game, but they serve their purpose. The coolest one is World 5-4's boss, which takes place entirely in the sky without anything to stand on.
It's so epic! I mean, there are no platforms!
Yeah?
You're fighting a boss while skydiving!
Gotcha.
The final boss starts with Baby Bowser switching sides and fighting you entirely for the sake of there being a Baby Bowser fight. It doesn't have to make sense story-wise. Oh, and Bowser travels back in time, so you fight him too. Twice. I like how a bunch of other Yoshis help you in the last phase. More games should do stuff like that. Once both Bowsers are defeated, all the babies are saved and brought home. And right at the end, it's revealed who the 7 star children are. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Donkey Kong, Wario, Bowser, and the newly hatched baby Yoshi. I assume this Yoshi is the one who meets Mario in Super Mario World? And what importance do the star children have anyway? Nothing in this game explains what's different about them. Are they meant to protect the world? Well, no, Bowser's one of them. And none of this even matters. This game isn't canon anyway. So many people describe Yoshi's Island DS as a game with a lack of polish. I was under the impression that Yoshi's Island DS was just worse than Yoshi's Island. And it was right, but I personally found Yoshi's Island DS to be one of the most underrated experiences on the DS. I would say it has low lows and high highs, not lack of polish.
Welcome to the Ponder Club, where we take great pride in accomplishing what no one else will. For example, that's exactly how Wendy's will take over the world. I know too much.